So every 10, 15 years, America's in somebody's business.
Dang.
Keep the war tax going. But the income tax didn't really hit us hard until after 1933, contemporary with the rise of World War II, when they took us off the gold standard and put us on the fiat. Right?
102.
Then they came with House Bill, I think it was 191.
192. House Resolution 192, 6107, executive order by Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Right. We said everybody must turn in their gold.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Senate bill, I think it was Senate Bill 191, declared America bankrupt. That's when they declared the people hostile and we was at war with the people.
Yeah, enemies of the state. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We went over that in prior classes. Anybody that want to go back, we discussed that the American government corporation had waged war against the people. But what we don't know and we don't always connect is when they say the people, every original tribal name translates into modern English as the folks or the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's either kinfolk or the people. And this is how your gangs in Chicago end up being divided along folks and people. Government
so the arrest.
You cut out, Elder. You was glitching for a minute.
Okay, I'm back. I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm glitching now.
No, you good now. You good now.
Hey, so we're all like we leading up to the point where what if these guys got the heck out of town? Like they can't. Like, is there no place they can hide? You know, these Obamas and these Clintons. You know, when Jeffrey Epstein's got a $70 million apartment that they got on the market now up in New York. And in this apartment, they found two photos. One of the photos is of Bill Clinton in Monica Lewinsky's dress in her heels, the one that he got the stain on. They got a picture of him in that dress. And then he got another picture with George W. Bush flying a paper plane into the Twin Towers. George W. Bush Jr.
I don't think that was Monica Lewinsky's dress because she had a dark dress and that one is like baby blue that Bill Clinton got on. But
it's like a dark blue.
Yeah, but it's like royal blue, the color that Clinton wearing. But the whole thing about him in the dress sitting in that chair goes more to his sexual appetite.
Yeah, right. Feel you. Go ahead.
You know, the paintings are parodies. You know, so they say Hillary wear the pants in the house. So you know who they gonna put the dress on.
Right.
Right. Now, in that last clip, you notice they mentioned the continuity of government.
Go ahead.
And they said that the continuity of government was activated under Trump under the first administration, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, remember, Trump the only president in the history of the country that came out with the top generals of all branches of the military. In his speech, he said, "We're not here to transfer power from one political faction to another, but to return the power from Washington, D.C. back to we, the people."
Go ahead.
We, the people, is a tribal slogan that the chiefs would use when meeting each other to know we was on the same team, and that's how they exploited it.
Uh-huh.
So when they translated it in English, it come out as we the people, but we was saying it in the tribal tongue.
Go ahead.
So now they use it in their English writings to manipulate our subconscious. We remember we the people.
Right.
It's like saying we the tribes, we the clans, we the families, we the ones.
Yep.
Right? Now, at the same time, this continuity of government taking place, they allowing the deep state to make moves because they already in check.
Right.
But every move that they move, they get tighter and tighter locked in to their position to the point where they won't be able to make another move.
Right.
Right? So the deep state don't have no more moves, but the king got one more move. Right? So when we finally rescue the king, it requires the efforts of the queen. So when you're looking at the continuity of government process, they have a means of communicating. This is what I be reading. It's called spy language. It's coded spy language. But as a native wind talker, we understand code so well that we can read nature when the wind blows, when the feathers ruffle, when the leaves run through, when the birds flying, when the birds chirping, when the dogs barking. All that stuff means something to a code talker, a tribal code talker.
Right.
But it don't mean something to everybody. Right now, we have to create a codex to translate what is it saying, and then we use that codex to mirror what the government is doing, and then the wind talker can read from nature everything they doing because of the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
The butterfly effect triggers a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I've been telling everybody we under continuity of government, I have heard nobody else telling the people that we was going through a continuity of government transfer of power and where to find the documentation to be able to follow the pattern. Right? I haven't heard nobody else say it. Nobody even talks about continuity of government but Rod Hayes, because he half crazy. Rod the madman. Come on the internet with his hair all on his head, looking all disheveled. But he telling the people everything they need to know, but it might not be everything they understand why he's saying it. Right? So we deliver the message to the people in order for it to get out. We try to break the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithm determines the flow of the collective conscious, and what they search for, it tells the system how deeply they entrenched in the illusion versus how deeply they see it through it. And the goal is to wake us all up, all of the ones that's supposed to be awake.
Right.
And they know by the number that's supposed to be awake in the algorithm flow, how many of the awakened ones has been activated. Because what comes next on the algorithm determines who wakes up next. Because they're going to come with a specific insight that's tailored to who they are as a person, and they've got to know themselves well enough to know that if I feel this way about it, it got to mean this is the only one thing it can mean.
Right.
And then they're able to tell people this is how you find it, and this is how you get your receipts. And with the aid of the internet, you can access receipts at a faster pace. I'm gonna give you an example. Maybe it's just wrong.
Hey, Rod, it's funny that you sprang up the internet and all that because they keeping this on the wraps, but Africa just cut, I think it's America off today, or it's coming up here, and they got they setting up their own search engine and internet in Africa now.
Actually, it's Africa. It's most of the BRICS nations.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
We talked about this in the last one receipt drop we did.
Mm-hmm.
They took out 1 point something billion people in Africa and Asia has been dropped from the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
Now remember, the BRICS nations is covering in that territory.
That's right.
And that's the arising of the new systems, the gold-backed systems. Now they damning the dollar back home. You get to see it by the sudden disruption of the algorithms of Google by 1 point billion people dropping off.
That's almost like one. That's like almost. That's a lot of percentage compared to 7 billion people on the planet, like 8 billion people.
Yeah. So if it's 8 billion people in a billion, that's 8% of the world's population.
2 billion
people. 10% of the world's population.
No, that's more than 10%.
Everybody in the world not using the internet. That's what's crazy. So you look at it again, you say out of the 8 point, or the number been fluctuating. So out of the 8 billion people, how many of them have internet access?
Then yeah,
that's going to drastically reduce the number to a little over about 3 billion people in the world.
Right.
Now when you take 1 billion people off that, right, that's a major blow.
Yeah.
That's a third of the people gone now.
Yeah.
Right? Mathematically, if it was an even 3 billion, you took an even 1 billion off, that's 33.33%.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. Murder by numbers. So we looking at all of this stuff is shifting. Now remember, we still got 3i Atlas coming in, right? Which now they got another set that's coming with 3 ships. They got Harvard scientists telling us that these are alien crafts.
Yeah.
Right? Now they also having a skirmish with Venezuela. Right? For bombing a boat that they said was carrying drugs.
Ain't Harvard what Skull and Bones it?
Who?
Is it Harvard? I'm thinking about Yale. Is it Yale? That's what it is. Skull and Bones.
Yeah. So Venezuela takes us back to wrestling. Mm-hmm. I got a post on my Instagram page about a couple months ago about the rise of the Queen of the South.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Stephanie McClure in wrestling following the championship run of Rhea Ripley from Australia. Right? The symbol that you see on the post that I put up is a smiley face with a point in Australia and a point in Brazil. It's actually an airplane path. Then you got Venezuela caught up in this, and Stephanie McClure from Venezuela or Argentina, which is right next to Venezuela, and this is the rise of the Queen of the South. But there can't be a rise without the attention of the people in order to collapse the wave into the particle, to pay attention to the geography so that they can draw energy to the area to move us forward. So they use the cover of war. And you got to remember, Sun Tzu say all war, not some war. All war is based on deception, which is the ability to give you an illusion, but it's all to draw your attention to a location, right, a geographical mark. The last one we did, we had a lot of people asking me about Australia. When you put that Australian video up, it clarified a lot of that for the ones that's watching, right? To know that this is really the tribes of the earth reclaiming earth back from the tribes that ain't from the earth.
Right.
That's why their God didn't have nowhere for them to be on earth, because they didn't belong on earth.
Right.
Right? So we got the report about a week and a half ago that they only got little hot pockets of them left here and there. because they done got rid of the majority of them as off-world. We talking about the Enlil family that was concealed in caverns under the earth.
Right.
Right? Some of them wasn't involved in the stuff that was going on the earth, but the ones that was, they got a special place on earth to be dealt with by Earthborn.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But they were the minions, right? They lesser affiliates that was benefiting from their reign about to feel the wrath at the end. Right? Because they gonna save some scraps for the dogs to eat. This is for my dogs. This is for my dog. Right.
We'll go to the next one. Let's talk about prophecies for a second. It ties into what he was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you go with the Bible says that the prophet, it goes into Deuteronomy, but they say, "Oh, this prophet from God." If we can get into that. But when I went to go look up I looked up in the NBA to see is any player that never missed a shot, and it was no player that never missed a shot, and there was only one player that had 1% accuracy, and his name was Ahmed. Right, and I thought about Muhammad. Right, he only shot one shot his whole career, and he hit that one shot. He was 100%. It was only one guy. Then I looked up how many people in the NBA, the National Baseball League that never struck out. Everybody struck out. It was nobody ever went to the league that never got struck out. So, and no quarterback in the NFL is 100% accurate. So, I guess this brings to my next question. And not to add to that, Babe Ruth, the same year, I think it was 1921, where he had the most home runs in that year. 1923, I think it was. He also had the most strikeouts in that same year. You know what I'm saying? But this is my question: are all prophecies 100% accurate? Are they subject to change? Or is there some stipulate? Because I don't know nobody that's 100% accurate in life. You gonna people make Go ahead.
Okay, when you're talking about prophecies, first of all, who giving this prophecy? These not prophecies. The reason why they look so accurate is because they're not prophecies. They are plans, schematics, blueprints with markers to let you know what part of the conquest has been successfully completed. When you following the prophecies, you following the plans of the one who wrote the plan. But it's never the person they told you it was. Like, they give Albert Pike the credit for Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike probably 9 out of 10 didn't even write that himself.
He wasn't that intelligent. He was satanic, but he studying his work. Yeah, so it had to be a group, or they put that together, a whole group. I think the Scottish Rites.
They don't know if it be a group, but they say this. The reason why I say that is because the way you control information. Remember, everybody didn't know how to read. Less than 1% of the population of any society at any given time was able to read until modern times. Who was responsible for recording the deeds of the king? Do you remember?
It would be the scribes, right? His scribes?
Yeah, the scribes.
Right.
And at one point, only scribes knew how to read and write. And the king, of course, he had to learn how to be a scribe in order to be a king or a ruler. Right? Okay, now, if the only people was writing was the scribes, what about the peasants in the field? They weren't writing nothing?
Go ahead.
They was telling the stories around the campfires at night. And the stories carried on and became the oral tradition. So you got both sides of the story. The ones who wrote and the ones who told the story on what we call the hot gossip line. Right? And so we got the grid tales, and then you have your written story. The written story is the plan of those who's doing the writing or instructing somebody to write. That's their instruction. Now we got to figure out how to code it, right? We code it under the pretense of prophecy. But you notice the word prophet exists within the word prophecy.
Right.
Right? But not only does the word prophet exist, the word prophet exists. So now it's tied to the banking system because the prophet got to generate profits.
Go ahead.
In order for him to maintain his 501c3 status.
Skull and bones. Oh, man.
Now look, 501c3. Phi means change Omega to Alpha. C is 3 and 3 is 3, which is 33. The master. It's all coded. It's in our face, behind our back.
Man.
We just don't know their language. It's all CIA, KGB, Mossad, all of the secret spy networks have access to it. That's why they pick up a newspaper. They don't see the same thing you see.
Right? They see the codes.
They pick up the paper that says man landed on the moon. You know what they see? It's an invasion about to take place in a rocky terrain in the Far East.
Yeah.
Right? We looking at the moon in an invasion. They looking on Earth in a whole nother direction. They still telling the story. They put it in your face because it ain't up to them to tell you what it means. It's up to you to figure it out. And if you don't teach yourself how to think, you'll never figure it out. And the ones that think they know how to think, but think the ones actually doing the thinking is insane, is the worst of them all because they are delusional. And they telling the whole rest of the people that the ones that doing the thinking don't know what they talking about and that they delusional, which is misdirection. The world is a stage. We are just actors.
Right.
If you don't see the misdirection, then you're going to be trapped in the illusion. David Copperfield didn't make the airplane disappear. He just made you think it disappeared. If he can make you think it disappeared, he don't have to make it disappear.
Yeah.
Because now you accepted that it disappeared, meaning that the illusion was successful because you didn't believe he could trick you and you got tricked.
Interesting.
That's how street times work. Street card money. The shuffle game, the 3 shells in the ball. All that's sleight of hand. That's all illusion. And some people always fall for the illusion. Yeah, trickery in the first degree. 120 degrees of trick knowledge that Jacob gave them. Remember, they rule by trick knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is the knowledge of trickery and how to deceive.
Right.
They tell you that the devil is a deceiver. What is his greatest deception? He had to make you think that he the God you worshiping and all the time you worshiping him.
Go ahead.
This is the greatest deception ever played on men. To make man think that man is less than what man truly is. Therefore, you can never reach your potential because you don't know your potential is as high as it is, so you limit how high you jump. Like fleas in a jar. Second generation won't jump. When you take the jar off, they won't jump higher than the lead.
Right. That's right.
And you keep low,
like puppies.
And you keep lowering the lid, they jump lower and lower. Boy, until you can actually fall without a lid open. That's teaching you to endure suffering. Because oppression is atmospheric. You can only be depressed to the degree in which you are strong enough to take the oppression. The strongest people have been oppressed the longest because they can take it the most. And that allowed the people that's in the appearance of power go through a catharsis where they can burn off all of their negativity by abusing the ones that they think is the weak ones, and all the time they ain't weak, they the strongest ones. That's why they at the bottom, because they got to hold up the system.
Right.
Right, but they only got to hold it up until they get tired of holding it up. And whenever they get tired of holding it up collectively, then they just all stand up and flip the table.
Right.
Right. But most of them don't know that all of the rest of them is ready to flip the table. So somebody got to tell everybody. So maybe one of the corners, one of the legs, a 7 or something, them start flipping around the bottom of the board to tell y'all all you gotta do is stand up. Talking to the wind, Ezekiel's army.
This might be a little. Before I roll this next clip, a question. Yo, can you hear me, Rod? What the heck? Oh yeah, so here's my question, man. Before we go to roll that, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear
you. Before we finish with the conclusion to that, so
go ahead.
All of our prophecies is true to the degree in which the person responsible for executing a part of the plan executes.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody is missing from the equation, then the prophecy, like for instance, Charles Russell predicted the end of the world like 5 times. We still here.
Yeah.
Now, he probably would have been right if he wouldn't have told nobody, they wouldn't have adjusted for it. But when he told people, they adjusted for it, which prevented it from happening.
You're here. Hey, so maybe he was supposed to kill him.
Yeah, so the prophecy is only as accurate as the person carry out their portion of the plan that leads up to the fulfillment of that prophecy. If any one person don't carry their load, it don't be accurate. But most of the time they carry their load, so the prophecy appears to be pretty accurate. And then history repeats itself. So once you see where the gap at, you know where to plug the hole. Pick the weakness in the game, you sew it up.
Hey, now this is my next question. And this might be a little thought, but I think it ties into right now. Now I saw this concert where the rapper NBA Youngboy, man, he had to have at least 70 or 100,000 young guys in there. Like everybody had ski masks on their head. And they might have got in there with the blick. Look like they all had blicks in the car if they ain't have them on them. And then while he was rapping, they all like they was gonna leave there to go smoke somebody. Now with the power that he got, then they got him hit off in Utah with a black hand got what are they like the compounds it. They call themselves the Mormons. That's their cover name, right? But what power could he if he was to change? Or what type of control do he got, man? Like to have that many people in there jumping around like that with the ski mask on, ready to go. Like he really dangerous for our like if he was to turn on them and say, you know what, we finna go the people that so-called enslaved our people. We know that's a bunch of crap now. But he was to turn his energy and say, you know what, they watching him like a hawk, man, because he got too many control over too many young crazy dudes, man. What you think about that, right? Before we click on this next clip.
All it is a tribal faction that's following their leader.
Okay.
Right? The leader don't want to go the conscious route because of Tupac. They don't want to end up like Tupac. So they'll spit that crazy stuff that the industry want them to spit to allow them to get the spotlight on them. But when you talk to them, you'll find out that most of them ain't crazy as they be acting.
That's right.
But sometimes you got to play the fool to catch a sucker. Right? So when you seem dumber than your mark don't feel threatened enough to have to remove you. If he was to turn around right now and start doing the same thing Tupac was doing, or KRS was doing in the 80s, right? He wouldn't last a good 6 months before he ended up like Charlie Kirk.
Some people say they out
because they told him. If you have an industry contract, they tell you that if you don't follow this contract, there's consequences.
That's right.
And the consequences may directly affect you, which means you might die, or somebody close to you, and the world gonna think you sacrificed.
Yeah.
It is sacrifice. As in the case of Kanye, he didn't sacrifice his mama like people think. They killed his mama because he was the value they was trying to exploit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he tried to go and do this Kanye thing, you know how Kanye is. We all know how he is. We've been watching it. You can't go do your Kanye thing. You under this contract.
Right.
Right? I don't care about your contract. I'm finna do my Kanye thing. Right? And as soon as he decided that he was going to disregard that contract,
boom.
Bye-bye Donda. So he becomes so disgruntled, they try to shut him up. Repeals, mental health crisis is publicized to the public, handlers, right?
Right.
Gave him the appearance, the public persona of the rich nigga.
Right.
Right? So he had it all, but he ain't free.
Right.
And what he turned around and told us not too long ago, I don't want none of it if I can't be free.
Go ahead.
I'd rather be free than have all the money. That's what he said after he lost that was it Balenciaga deal? Those rules that were taking stuff. Was it Balenciaga?
He made a tweet where he said he lost. He was talking about a tweet that he got off of. I can't remember what company that was. It was a multi-billion-dollar deal. He lost it from making a tweet.
That was for the shoes.
Okay.
That's for the shoes, the Yeezys. I think I forgot who Yeezy were going through. I think Reebok. Anyway, he lost those deals because he'd rather be free than be paid to shut the F up while his people were struggling.
Right.
The problem is we don't know how to read Crazy Horse energy. Because if we knew how to read Crazy Horse energy, we would know exactly where Kanye coming from and what he's trying to tell us. We supposed to learn it off Old Dirty Bastard. He was to teach us the Crazy Horse energy, how to read it. Right? It's a couple more of them, but it was the lead Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse is a frequency and it's a cover. It's a protection, a spiritual protection from the tribes. Sitting Bull is a title, right? And it literally refers to the bull who sits on his post. He's sitting down on his post. He figured he's a bull. He can't be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these titles comes with encoded energies that the tribes can use. If we learn how to read Crazy Horse, it's like ODB say, shame on her for trying to run game on him. And he said, wait a minute, let me tell y'all what I'm talking about so y'all will know what it means. Then he went sober as a preacher to describe it. Yeah. And then he went back to right? Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to see. Young Pharaoh went through the Crazy Horse energy phase, where he used the Crazy Horse energy to break from under the pressure of being put under the spotlight. We sat here and watched him, and we all called him crazy, except for me. I laughed. You're crazy. You know exactly what he's doing, right? Because the crazy horse energy is used to get information past the enemy in the enemy face, right? So, the example. One day he was telling the story, and they were saying he was crazy during this time. And when he telling the story, he looked back to his baby mama and say, "Am I lying?" And she was like, "Nope, that happened." That's crazy horse bouncing it off a sane individual that was present. That's verifying that he ain't as crazy as we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story that he's telling actually happened, but he's telling it in an animated way that makes him sound unhinged. But the girl verified the whole story sitting right next to him. Crazy horse energy. Once you know how to read it, you know how to read it.
We're gonna roll that next. All right, now to confirm some of that stuff, because they was on the news the early morning I was watching when Virginia and Donald Trump was on there. I think it was the Virginia governor. They made a lot of arrests on child trafficking rings. They didn't bust so many, even in my state, but in Virginia, they just recently bust like it was in the thousands of children that were being trafficked just in Virginia.
And a lot of that is not reaching public exposure nationally. It's local exposure to a lot of those cases. And you had like 7 different sting operations in Florida alone that netted at least 100 and some perpetrators and untold amount of children. Right? Then you had one in Texas.
Yeah.
There's a couple of most states, California, they had a big trafficking ring bust out there too. I think it was one in Arizona as well. But see, I told y'all, they got us under the misdirection that there's animosity between the Russians and the Americans. It's not. Right? It's just that now the earth is split into the emerging regime, which is what you've seen going on in China. When you seen those heads of state over there with the President Xi of China.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then at the same time, Trump was meeting with the European powers in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the old world and the new world both showing you, because it was like 2 or 3 days after the Chinese military parade that had these world leaders over there that the internet shift happened. Everybody just switched over to the new system.
Yeah.
Like, over different people. Right. So what they telling you, everything they just telling you everything that I've been saying over the last 5 years that people call me crazy for, and they make these videos that update you, and everything that I was saying is in them videos.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes they don't believe it when it comes from somebody that look like us, because the people behind the scenes look like us and they always lying to us.
Yeah.
We don't know who to trust. So you got to come up with an independent third party. Now they're using AI because AI can download the information from multiple sources faster than a regular person.
Yeah.
Right? And then they can tell the story. It's all coming out because the youth is learning to control how AI respond to their questions in order to get the truth out.
Uh-huh.
And once they learn how to do that, it's over with, because it's telling them everything that crazy Rod Hayes and Young L have been saying.
Hey, Rod, Lady CC, go ahead. You was done.
Yeah, so we've been saying this 4, 5 years, and now AI is telling people stuff that we said that we was called crazy for.
That's right. That's right. Lady C say, what can she find these videos? Where did you get the videos, the clips from, bro?
This YouTube. These came off of a Facebook page, and somebody shared them with.
Somebody said so DC is closed and they're closing all the stores down here in Georgia. I know DC being that already closed down.
Yeah, most of the state buildings ain't been functional since 2018 or 2019. Yeah. They all been closed down. They started to dismantle the Federal Reserve building.
Yep.
I got that report a couple days ago. You know, so we watching it, but a lot of people ain't understanding. In the video before that, it mentioned the tunnels under the Vatican and the 650 planes that was flying from the Vatican. And then they mentioned that it was another site. The other site was the intelligence site. The gold was at the Vatican. And they had more gold in Switzerland. And you see how he went into the Swiss bank over in Basel, then to another part of Switzerland, Zurich. Right. That's where the central banks was funneling their money and storing it up. That's why they said they found storages of wealth, of stolen wealth. They stole it from us. Right. Nobody's supposed to be poor.
It's like you say, like now that you see that Africa cut all of the vampires off from stealing from their country, they building up their country look like it like to the future now. They got the internet started. It's pretty much like as they got left to themselves, they growing like they ain't nothing. But once we get to left to ourselves, it'll be the same over here. We'll rebuild and build it up to the future. You know, over here.
The good thing about over here is the majority of the people over here, no matter what they look like, they want to see prosperity over here. They came here to experience prosperity.
Right.
So if they see us building our cities up like Dubai, everybody gonna want to help.
Right.
Right. And this is gonna tear down a lot of the divide and conquer barriers that they gave us. Skin color, political affiliation, who your favorite rapper. Ain't none of that stuff gonna matter because we're gonna be too busy building for the future and understanding the need to build a promising future for the children.
Right.
Right. So it's just gonna be a whole different environment.
Some people they also said in that video that certain countries that they can escape to, that these guys that's gonna be a part of the mass arrest, that these countries are denying, saying, "No, we don't want your money. You can't come over here and hide." So what they gonna run and hide to if the countries that you can go to get immunity or whatever, they ain't gonna have nowhere to hide these guys.
It was a song back in the 60s that said, "Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide." Ain't nowhere they can go because you got to remember the whole earth is under satellite surveillance.
Go ahead.
If you leave, if you got your cell phone with you, you got a tracker. Right? So you can't take your cell phone, can't take your laptop because you got a tracker. You can't drive your car because you got a tracker. And we don't be knowing this stuff. They be doing and using it all the time in criminal investigations, but they don't want you to know that they use it.
Right, especially FBI. High-ranking agents. All right, we'll roll that.
And now we got jealous girlfriends that put air tags in our bags and in our pockets. And the government follow us through the air tag that she put on us, and she don't even know she working for them. HBF effect.
Wow. It's chairman, he resigned, and they pretty much taking it down.
Fired.
Yeah, they fired him pretty much. Yeah,
he was first in history. But this go back to what I told y'all a long time ago. The Federal Reserve was actually shut down in 2017 with a cease and desist order from printing U.S. currency.
Mm-hmm.
Now they were supposed to roll out the new currency. I think that's the next video. The new currency was stalled by Congress. So they had to use the BRICS nations to dam the dollar back to the United States because they're going to have to either reduce the inflation rate because the currency is diminishing, or they're going to hyperinflate, right? Because the currency is losing value. So it got two ways they can play it. Start relieving the pressure off the dollar by backing back prices, or over saturate the value of the dollar by artificial means, which creates an increase in prices, right? So the deep state, the ones who was in control that's fighting on their way out, they're not going to stop fighting until they're gone. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see activated sleeper cells and all that until they're done. Right? And they got to find a Jason Bourne sleeper, because the Jason Bourne sleeper is the only one that can peacefully wake up the rest of the sleepers so they don't follow the protocol. And the government got a good idea of where that agent is. Or they might even have him in custody. But the purpose is to activate or to awaken the sleeper cells without them being activated to commit atrocious acts. Right? So they've been running tribunals in Gitmo. And remember, they just opened up Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Those are for international criminals. Remember, the Russian sub came into the Cuban Bay. They was dropping prisoners off. Remember we were talking about that about 2 years ago? Yeah. And they was dropping prisoners off, and everybody thought it was going to be some kind of hostilities between America and Russia, but they working together. Right? They was working together to catch the whole deep state operation. Because Russia tired of being smeared over here and used as the boogeyman to manipulate the people.